a spectacular one. Nougat Flan, it looks amazing. Hello, sweet tooths. We're already in Christmas mode here. And I'm going to show you an idea to serve a different dessert at your house this holiday season. But, of course, with that Christmas touch, we're gonna make a nougat dessert that's absolutely finger-licking good. Pay attention to the recipe, because I'm sure you're going to love it. To make it, we only need 3 ingredients. First, nougat, a good bar, about 250 grams, and at least 500 milliliters of milk. And sugar, which I'll split into 2 groups. On one hand, 80 grams for the flan mixture and at least another 100 grams for the caramel. The caramel for this flan is super easy to make. All you have to do is add the sugar, and I'm telling you, 100 grams is enough. In a pan, we're going to add, to speed up the process, 2 or 3 teaspoons of water. That's it, nothing more. We stir a little just by moving the pan, and we're going to leave it still and untouched until a caramel forms. But always on medium heat, see? After a few minutes, this doesn't get done in 3 or 4 minutes, it takes a little while, the caramel gets this texture. When you have it like this, you can give it a few stirs so the heat spreads evenly and it becomes 100% liquid. And take it off the heat because it's ready now. But while it's still hot, you need to pour it into the mold or flan dish you're going to use. I like to use a long loaf-shaped mold, about 24 centimeters long, like this one for this type of flan. I pour the caramel inside, and then right away, while it's still very hot, I move the mold around a bit so it spreads all over the base. Always be very careful with this, because the caramel is very hot and burns can be really bad, so whenever you're working with caramel, be very careful. On the other hand, we take the turon and chop it up really well. The more finely chopped it is, the faster it will mix later, so it's important to take a little care to make sure it's well chopped. What I do is cut some strips in one direction, which is really quick. Then I cut strips in the opposite direction, that is perpendicular. So I get tiny cubes, see? That way I finish quickly and I get really small pieces. And if I also cut diagonally, I make even smaller pieces, see? A cut in each direction gives me tiny little triangles. And now, cutting the opposite diagonal is the fastest and, for me, the best way to cut a bar into really small pieces. Once we have it chopped, we're going to put the eggs in a blender jar, in this case, a hand blender. You could also do it in a blender. We add the milk in. As you can see, we've just added the ½ liter of milk and the sugar. There it is. All that's left is to blend everything very well, so it becomes a completely uniform liquid. But first, we have to add today's special flavor, which is this soft nougat from Gihona, or however you call it, there it is. With this same method, we could also make nougat of another kind, for example, with peanut butter, which would definitely give it a very unique and delicious touch. There it is. Alright, we carefully add all the chopped ingredients and, as I said, mix it very well. There it is. I really like this type of hand blender because when you move it, you can mix everything very quickly. But I admit that a blender, a countertop blender, would also work perfectly because they have a lot of power from the bottom and create a vortex that mixes everything really well too. So that really depends on the machine you have or the one you prefer to use. Well, I think I've got this ready now. I'm gonna show you how it turned out and I'm gonna give it a final touch now. And you can see that it's a very, very smooth liquid, but with a few small bits that come from the almonds in the nougat. We're going to find those inside the flan later, which makes it delicious. We pour the flan mixture into the mold we prepared, and that's it. As you can see, I put the mold in another tray. And there's a reason for that. Why? Because we're going to bake it, but in a water bath. The trick to today's recipe is this. When you add the water for the water bath, do it with very hot water. This reduces temperature contrast, so it bakes faster and more evenly. Alright, we have the oven preheated to 180 degrees and we're putting our tray with hot water inside. And the mold with the caramel and the flan mixture we made a little while ago. Everything inside, preheated oven, and now we wait and enjoy as the magic happens. It will take about an hour to get the perfect texture. You'll know it's ready when a toothpick comes out clean after poking it. But look, what I do is this. After an hour, I leave it in the oven, but with the oven turned off, the door open, and that way the temperature evens out. Alone, and I'm going to leave it like that calmly until everything is lukewarm. After that time, which could be a few hours, in fact, I prepared it last night and this morning I take it out calmly without any problem. Then, what we're going to do is simply keep it in the refrigerator until it's time to serve. It may not seem like it, but this adds body to the flans and helps the flavors blend better. So I recommend keeping it in the fridge for at least 4 hours. We bake it for an hour at 180 degrees, let it cool inside for at least 30 minutes, then refrigerate or freeze for 4 hours. After that, it's time to remove it from the mold. We can use a thin knife like this to run along the edge and make sure it comes out smooth and perfect. We run the knife along all 4 sides of the mold, really close to the edge to make the most of the flan. And then we'll look for the tray where we want to present our delicious Christmas dessert for today. That nougat flavor always reminds us of the holidays, and we should always remember them with a smile on our face. We place the tray, flip it over, and voila! Here you can already see the caramel coming out, see? Does that mean it's already been unmolded? Let's lift it up and see how it turned out. Will it look good? Look, 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 ooh! A perfect nougat flan that we've also made, as you can see, very easily. I've chopped up a bit more nougat to decorate, so I'm going to put a strip down the center. That way, we'll see the nougat before we eat it. That will give our brain an idea of what we're about to eat, and so it'll make us want it even more. That's why decoration is important in baking, and as you can see, decorating doesn't have to be complicated at all. You can do something as simple as this, and it already gives it that extra touch that we needed. Well, the truth is that you don't really need it, but it does help make it even better. And that's it. Here we have the cut. We just sliced it. You can see the texture. It's soft and looks just as amazing as you see here. I hope you like the recipe and that one day you'll dare to try making it yourself. Look, look, look. Look at that shine, how it looks. What a perfect flan, right? An amazing nougat flan that I think is going to be a hit this Christmas. Go ahead and make it and enjoy. This must be nearby. It's delicious. It tastes like flan. It tastes like nougat. It has a strong flavor and it's creamy on top of that. What more could you ask for? An amazing dessert. If you make it, you're definitely gonna succeed. And well, since I'm here, I'm going to ask you, do you feel like having more desserts? Taking advantage of the fact that I'm sure you have nougat at home during this time of year? Any other nougat dessert? I don't know. For example, maybe an ice cream? If this video gets 2,000 likes, 2,000 thumbs up, or likes, I'll make a nougat ice cream. That's amazing. So if you feel like it, give it a thumbs up. And you can also check out this other video here, which, just by the looks of it, you can tell has to be delicious. Or click here to subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the bell and notifications. And every Wednesday and Saturday, you'll get notified that we have a new sweet recipe. And down here is our savory recipes channel, Galossalandia Tutum.